What's up, everybody out there in YouTube land? Wrath2501 here. Okay, got another video from a tanker's view, alright? This is a tanker's view of the Tau Hammerhead from Warhammer. Alright, so he's critiquing tanks from other factions other than just the Imperium of Man. Dude, I can't wait till he starts getting in on the orcs. God. Oh, jeez. It's going to give him a friggin' cerebral hemorrhage. Alright, I did cut off the beginning of this because it had some music in it that I think may be copyrighted, so I actually, had to cut that out. So, but it was actually kind of interesting, so I do recommend clicking, I'll tell this at the beginning, click a link to the original and in the description and get down to Tanker's View and watch the first part of the video because it's kind of cool. Alright, so yeah, I just want to let you guys know that. So, then, let's get started here. Come on, and go.
Welcome back to a new episode of A Tanker's View with me, your average tanker, Tony. This week we are looking at the Tau Hammerhead. Because if I'm going to hate on one hoverhead, let's hate on them all.
Hammerhead, yes. Do you see that human tank? Yes. I don't want to.
But before I can continue, if you could do the YouTube thing, like, comment, subscribe, and share, I'd really appreciate it. And as always, thank you for watching.
They make you click on so much shit now.
A subject of much debate and much
Space Voldemorts.
A tiny but potent upstart
melee attack
empire that has risen from a bunch of Stone Age rock-banging troglodytes to a spacefaring interstellar empire in under 6,000 years. I would say good job, but this is 40K, and absolutely nothing is benign in the grim derpness of the far future.
Grim derpness.
Leaving aside the utter ridiculousness and naivete
entire
of
species
their
with a real
fledgling
amount of effort.
empire,
Reds.
their technological edge is nothing to be scoffed at. But the design of their war machines is sometimes just really doesn't reflect it. For argument, I give you the Hammerhead. This looks almost familiar. Like I just crapped on something like this. Maybe. So, to reiterate,
does look familiar.
I am no 40K lore master. I take what I see and what I can find in a few days of research and look at it from a basic bitch tanker's perspective. Now, everyone and their inquisitorial shadow knows that the Tau fight at range because they are the smaller and comparatively weaker Xenos compared to the Great Devourer, the Skins, or the deceitful Eldari. They lack the capacity to close with and destroy the enemy effectively, and rely solely on drones and long-range engagement strategies to leverage their strengths,
which is smart.
Obvious weaknesses. Keeping it long range has its advantages if you say don't have a lot of numbers, supply issues, or your enemy has a penchant for bayonet charges and weapons made of chainsaws. But it also provides several
and like chainsaw cannons.
It's a largely defensive strategy. It's very easy to lose the momentum in the fight, and it makes it very difficult to concentrate fire effectively. So taking all of this into account, we can better understand this odd, but effective Xenos device that doesn't work, but somehow it does.
Yeah, so, that's everything in Warhammer 40K. Doesn't work, but somehow does.
Now, as a general overview, I can already see a few things wrong with this.
Yeah.
I really should know where to begin. Well, really, I do know where to begin. It's a Xenos piece of crap, but I'll start with the issue I take with most hover or anti-grav vehicles. The lack of mitigation for recoil. And to illustrate my point, here's my whiteboard again. Contrary to many opinions, all weapons that emit a beam or projectile have recoil. It doesn't matter if it's a handheld phaser from Star Trek, the PPC from D5, or a Vulcan Mega Bolter. They've all got recoil. It could be so minuscule as to be barely felt at all, or it could require the mass of a Titan to keep it in check. Most hover vehicles don't try to take this into account. Well, this one tries, but it still falls kind of short, and let me explain why. You see these massive jet engines on the back of the sides? These are big, glaring weakness, and yes, they will counter the recoil, but they're loud, power-intensive, massive two-fold weaknesses, despite having soft-killed countermeasures. Now, the biggest flaw in the design is the huge intakes. Look at the sheer size of them in comparison to the rest of the vehicle. Then look at the location. Now, I've said this before, and I'll say it again.
Yeah, you get shit caught up in there, it's gonna die.
I'm not an effing idiot either. The massive intakes tell me it's an air-breathing vehicle. Therefore, putting something open-mouthed close to the ground is an invitation to get something sucked into it and break your tank.
Mouth breathers.
A missile, big rocks, or the flying bodies of your puny infantry.
Yeah.
If the Tau had any common sense, they would hard mount the intakes into a protected position in the hull and move the nozzles to armored blisters on the rear quadrant with vectoring nozzles. Okay, so that was the first biggest gripe I had.
Not bad.
Next is the big old shot traps on either flank. What in Gilliman's perpetually clutching butt cheeks is this? A quick aside, from what I can tell, it's more pronounced on some models more than others, but on the majority of them it seems to be present. Now, given the profile of this thing, arse to nose, you chose to give it Zoolander cheeks? Even the Imperium doesn't install bowl-shaped shot traps on its vehicles.
Yeah.
The eternally high on their own supply Tau, of course, couldn't figure out the basics of regular angular armor on their tanks. What the shit, guys? Like, holy terror on roller skates. Let's move on before I have a stroke. Shit, it's too late. I just saw the weapons pods on the nose. So, the whole point of underslung weapons pods is to use elevation to their advantage. This is why we put them on aircraft. So,
like helicopters.
Why in the name of the Emperor's golden testicles would you put them on a vehicle that's intended to operate at most a few feet off the ground?
Yeah.
You know what sucks? When you smash your damn weapons off the machine you signed for. How's Quartermaster's gonna break his hoof off in the ass of the private for the greater good?
It's all about the greater good.
Shut up!
You know what sucks even harder than that? Being unable to effectively leverage all of your weapons because you landed on a planet that doesn't have 6 inches of level ground. You land on a planet with vegetation as robust as Catachan, for God's sake.
Oh God, forget it, man. You ain't getting nowhere.
A tank or it's a close air support vehicle. If you try to do something with both, you're gonna get something that's gonna fail the job spectacularly.
Yeah.
Because again, you're only gonna be able to leverage half of your weapons effectively. Also, putting missile pods on the front of air-breathing jets is a real bad idea, unless you want to stall them out every time you fire.
Yeah, interesting.
But that's neither here nor there. To add on to the point about the whole close air support vehicle or tank issue, yes, this thing has an ability to jump. It is an advantage, but it's balanced against a massive disadvantage. To jump an obstacle, it does something every tanker and soldier tries to avoid: silhouetting yourself against the horizon. No matter how fast you can move, all it takes is one competent commander on the other side of a hill to anticipate this little trick and turn your shiny tanks into lemon blueberry confetti. Now, let's talk about the long, throbbing arm of the greater good.
How can this be for the greater good? Shut it!
There
or the railgun, as everyone else calls it. Now, railguns come in two varieties: standard barrel type and recoilless. Although recoilless is a bit of a misnomer, but it's still vastly reduced in comparison to the barrel type.
Look at that thing. That's a real one. Holy shit.
The first being from the American Railgun Project, and the second being from the Expanse. This is where the recoilless types are more needed, when there's nothing around to absorb the massive recoil, like the vacuum of space or the cushion of air you're hovering on. Moving on to the range and ballistic trajectory of all railgun rounds in comparison to the battlefields.
Neat.
Now, on paper, railguns are absolutely amazing. They can punch large holes in pretty much anything you need perforated. The amount of kinetic energy they transfer per cost of unit fired is among one of the holy grails of warfare, and needing only to store inert metal projectiles.
Dude, look at that! I love it.
Is a huge boon to survivability of the crew and cost.
I own a handheld version of that.
Problem with railguns: trajectory. The ballistic trajectory of railgun rounds is measured in the hundreds of kilometers. Even our own naval railgun would have a projective range of 342 miles, or 550 kilometers, with a accuracy of approximately 1 meter, or 3 feet 4 inches in freedom fractions.
There you go. If you speak freedom fractions like an adult.
Of a naval 5-inch shell at the same time. Whereas a chemical round is typically limited to a maximum of 21 to 25 miles, or 50 to 60 kilometers.
Nice.
Now, it has an easier ballistic arc to compensate for the shorter distance in the battlefield, and to deal with issues of coverment and concealment. Now, most battlefields are shorter than that by comparison, rarely exceeding a few tens of miles in depth. And that's just on the front. I understand that a war can cover a whole planet, and a boot that isn't going to be flat terrain, nor will your foe likely to be choosing battlefields conducive to their enemy's strength unless the plot calls for it. But I guess that part will be based on whoever has the battlefield.
That's Warhammer, though.
Now, if we take that into account, we can assume that these tanks will constantly have to jump to clear obstacles to score hits at range. Now, if a commander is willing to absorb some losses, it wouldn't take very long to pin down the pattern and leverage long-range artillery against it. Now you say, why don't you just turn down the power of the railgun to control the range? Well, when you slow down a railgun projectile to control its range, you remove its one redeeming feature: the ability to transfer massive levels of kinetic energy. Now, if you're going to do that, you might as well throw lawn darts for all the damage it's going to do. So, how would I fix this and make it more better? Well, it boils down to two things that I've mentioned before.
Really?
I would streamline those jet thrusters, and I'd move the damn underslung weapons off of the ground and into elevated positions on the top of the nose of the hull. Finally, I'd probably recenter that railgun just to even out the forces involved in recoil.
Yes.
Maybe even switch the design.
Having it off the
to
side
soft
is just
assist
a
with
problem.
toilets. But G-Dubs isn't ever going to hire me to tell them what they're doing wrong, so I'm just screaming into the void here. Anyway, guys and gals, that's going to be it
Yeah,
for
and
me
the
on this
void
episode
lord,
of Tankers
and
News.
the
Like what I'm doing
actually you're
here,
screaming
if you wanna buy me a
into
coffee
the
better, my coffee link is in the description down below.
you're screaming into
Like, share,
chaos.
and subscribe, and with that, I will see you
Into
absolutely
the warp. You're screaming into the warp. Tau in melee combat. We should stick our close combat. Is it? Are you challenging me? Oh god, the Death Corps of Krieg. Yeah, they're a thing for that. Anyway, so there you go, guys. That was an interesting one. And I don't know why they say there's such a thing as Tau waifus. Tau women are ugly as shit. They're just basically a bunch of blue space Voldemorts. People find that shit attractive? Nasty. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like this video, subscribe. Like I said, click the link to the original, check out the beginning part. It was actually pretty cool. And don't forget to like and subscribe at A Tanker's View. And like this video and subscribe before you go, guys. Help this channel grow and help me to continue to deliver a big middle finger to YouTube and whoever that bitch new CEO they got. I don't know who the hell it is. Nobody gives a shit. Anyway, it's just more of the same. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Tune in every day for new content. Bye-bye.